the mission over the years has seen the needs have shifted and have changed as the landscape has changed. We've gone through recessions where we've had increased unemployment. We've gone through changes in medical care, and so we've offered different things related to that. And so no matter what the situation is, the rescue mission is always trying to look at what are the needs in the community and how can we meet those needs. So the Lexington Rescue Mission started in 2001 when my parents, Jim and Becky Connell, really felt God leading them to some kind of ministry that would serve people who are struggling with poverty and homelessness and minister to their physical needs, but also to their emotional and spiritual needs. And so as they looked around to see what kind of ministries had that model and did that kind of work, they came across rescue missions, which are really all over the country and are often the primary provider for services to people who are struggling with homelessness. And so they visited with other rescue mission directors. They contacted the National Association to find out if there was a need for a rescue mission in our area. And it turned out that Lexington, Kentucky really needed additional services for people who are struggling with homelessness and poverty. And they were living in southern Indiana at the time, and so it wasn't too far away and seemed like a natural fit. And so when my dad came down here to check it out and see what the situation was, at that time there was about 1,000 people who were homeless on any given night, and there just weren't enough beds for people in the community. And so he really felt like there was a real need there for additional services, but also for really Christ-centered care where people who were needing that spiritual help could come and get it. And they actually came across our property on North Limestone, near the corner of 7th and Limestone. Today, we call that the Potter's House, and that became our first property. And so God started bringing all kind of volunteers out of the woodwork to help get the building ready. And then the very first service that we offered was a Thanksgiving dinner for people who were hungry and homeless the night before Thanksgiving in 2001. And so that was really what launched the mission. And from there, we started providing meals and clothing and shoes and help with bills, just really trying to be relevant for people who are struggling. So here at our outreach center, this is often the first place that someone comes when they're in need. Oftentimes they'll hear that we have good food, we have a meal. So they'll come in to get a meal, and they'll meet people who are kind and welcoming, and they know that this is a safe and welcoming place that they can come and get rest. And so our outreach center serves as really a respite from the outside world for a lot of people who are hurting and they don't have anywhere else to go. And so they'll maybe come and stay at the outreach center during the day so they don't have to walk the streets. They have somewhere to go where they can use the bathroom and get clean and plug in their devices and get some water, just take care of some of their basic needs. But as people do that, we get to know them and we get to know their stories. We get to know their struggles. And our goal is then to invite them into a deeper level of care and a deeper relationship. And so one thing we do is with our walk-in hours after lunch, people can come in and get help with a variety of different needs. Maybe they need some socks. Maybe they need a clothing voucher. They need some things just to be able to get through. And so they can come into walk-ins, and we'll not only meet those needs, but for every person that comes to our walk-in hours, what we do is we ask them how they're doing, what's going on in their lives. And our goal is to get to know them, to get to know what kind of things they're struggling with. Because oftentimes if they're struggling with those basic needs, there's other things that are going on. And our goal is to not just treat people as their need, but treat them as a human being who's created with dignity and in the image of the Lord. And so then we'll invite them into chapel services, which we have daily. We have a Bible study that we call Steady Hands, where they can really dig into scripture and get to know the Lord better. And then we also have a program where if people come in and they're homeless, we can do an assessment and see if they would be a good fit for what we call our homeless intervention program. And what that program does is that helps people find affordable housing, and it helps them to be able to afford to move into housing. And so our goal is that as we move people into housing, that then they're able to stay in that housing. And while we really serve a lot of people who are homeless, that's not everybody that we serve. Some people are just struggling to put food on the table, and they need a little bit of extra help with meals. Some people are struggling to get their kids clothes for the school year, and they just need a little bit of help getting back to school clothes. We help with that. Sometimes they're having a hard time making ends meet and paying rent, and so they're facing eviction, and that's where the Rescue Mission can step in and help try to identify housing for them that's affordable, move them into housing, and make sure that people aren't falling through the cracks.
That basically brought me more closer to the Rescue Mission, the fellowship, you know, the caring, the kindness. Really, if I wouldn't have came here, it wouldn't be good.
So at the Lexington Rescue Mission, we rely on donors throughout the community, really throughout Central Kentucky, to make this mission possible. We depend heavily on individual donors as well as churches and small businesses. Unlike a lot of organizations, we do not receive a large portion of our budget from big government grants. We depend on individuals who really believe in what we do to make this happen. We also rely heavily on volunteers. We could not do this ministry without volunteers coming in every day and helping us serve coffee and serve lunch and teach classes and pray for people and mentor people. Our volunteers make this ministry tick. They make it possible. And so we need both donations and we need volunteers to make this ministry run.
The Rescue Mission is a mission partner of our church. And so about 14 years ago, we were asked, because someone couldn't do the job on Saturday, help with lunch on Limestone, if we would care to do that. So we came, and from that point on, we've been at it since then. It was a wonderful experience. We just felt God's love and passion for the homeless or less fortunate, and we knew that this is where that God was leading us and that we wanted to serve here on a regular basis.
For me, just the relationships with the people that we come in contact with each week, you know, just being able to see them, and then when we don't see them for a while, when they do show up, you know, they're so glad to see us and we're glad to see them.
All right, I came here on August the 14th, straight out of prison. I had nothing when I walked out the door. I had no clothes. All I had was a pair of sweatpants and an old t-shirt and flip-flops. I walked in that door and it's been nothing but love. I was second day here. I went to work for their lawn care service. I enjoyed it. On Monday morning, Renee had me a job, Overall Timber, and I've been there ever since. But here, they give you love. I mean, if I needed food, I had it. If I wanted coffee, I had it. If I needed anything, they will give you anything here, and plenty of love. They tell you God sent you for a reason. Like I said, you walk in the door, you have clothes, you have food, you got shelter, and you got God on your back, and you got this ministry on your back, and it's the best place to be ever. I've never seen a place like this in my life. I thought it was a fake for a while, but it's not. It's real, and it's really great to be here. I wouldn't change it for nothing.
This is the House of Hope, which we added to the Lexington Rescue Mission in 2017. We were blessed with a grant that allowed us to purchase this building and turn it into the second phase of our transitional living program for men. So as guys finish up at the Potter's House, they get employment and they're ready, they're a little bit more stable, then they can come over here to phase 2, and that's where they're put into a double room rather than the big dorm area, and just receive further case management and help getting back on their feet. So the length and duration of their stay here really depends on the person and what their needs are. Some guys are here several months, other guys may be here over a year. It just really depends on what they need from the program. So our employment program works with unemployed men and women who just need help getting a job, and they also may need help finding employment. And so that allows us to really coach people on job skills and really help make sure that they are able to keep that job and move up the ladder in their employment. So we help with everything from resumes, cover letters, finding jobs, connecting with employers. And then we also place people in jobs through the mission. We call that Advanced Lexington, and that's our staffing service. And that all comes back to our core program that we offer with employment, which is Jobs for Life. Jobs for Life are employment classes that we teach our residents. We teach other folks that may need the job skills. So Jobs for Life is our employment training program where we teach people the skills they need to find, obtain, and maintain lasting employment. So our goal is to make sure that anyone who needs job skills can find them and learn them through the Lexington Rescue Mission. But we really don't want to stop just at teaching the skills. We really want to put people to work.
The people that work here, they're in full swing of employment, ID, a driver's license. You know, most places they drive you there. And so it's guys getting gainful employment and having a safe place to stay that's not around the behavior that we used to be in. Living this way is abnormal to us. Does that make sense? And so you have to live, you have to learn, other people have to show you how to do it. You know, you trust them and they'll show you how to live soberly, how to be an outgoing person, how to keep a job, those things.
This is Grace Place, and this is our new women's transitional home for women who are leaving incarceration or finishing up at a recovery program for an addiction, or in some cases coming out of homelessness. Well, this is really intended for women who are just in need of a helping hand to get up and to be able to move out eventually on their own so they can be independent. A lot of these ladies need some accountability as far as remaining sober. They need to learn some life skills so that they can manage a budget and eventually maintain housing. And they need to get employment so that they can support themselves and their families. But we also have a reentry program where we work with men and women who are currently incarcerated and also those who are just recently released from incarceration. And so our goal is to teach people the skills while they're still incarcerated so that when they get released, they'll be better prepared for that. But then when they get out, we have a case manager here at the House of Hope who's available to help them with housing and employment, getting IDs, all the basic things that often are hanging over their heads when they get out of jail or prison. So even if they're not coming into our transitional house, men and women come all the time just to get help with those various needs that they may need when they're reentering the community. We're really trying to do three things. We're trying to help meet critical needs, things like food, clothing, shelter, just basic needs that people have. And then we're trying to offer healing from the inside out for people that are really hurting and they need intervention. They need someone that can come alongside and help address the things that are keeping them stuck. And so we do that through classes and through counseling and through mentoring. We're able to offer that kind of healing services and really introduce people to Christ. And then finally, we want to be able to offer hope for the future. And we look at Jesus Christ as our source of hope, and we want to invite people into a relationship with Him or to go deeper with Him if they already know Him. And so our goal through everything that we do is to really focus on Christ and to draw people to Him.
You know, God don't want you to be a loner. He created us to have relationships, to interact. We were made to be in relationship and help each other and encourage each other. I tell them there's plenty of help. Quit listening to the voices in your brain that says you're not worthy, that says nobody will accept you, you know.
And Rescue Mission is a great place, I think.